Esme and I'm here at Audley End House and Gardens in Essex to find out about some of the games they've played here over the centuries. So come with me to meet Peter, who's the curator here at the house. Hi, I'm Esme, nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Peter, welcome to Audley End.
Well, thank you very much for having me. So can you tell us a little bit more about this property?
Yes, this house that we're standing in has been here for over 400 years and it's been home to many different people during that time. So in the 17th century, it was once a royal palace owned by King Charles II. Then in the 18th century, it was owned by a man named Sir John Griffin.
Great name.
Yep. And in the 19th century, it was home to Richard and Jane Neville, who were the 3rd Lord and Lady Braybrook. And they lived here with their 8 children.
8 children, it's
yeah.
a lot.
And for all of these people, playing games at Audley End has been really important.
Well, I'd love to hear more about some of these games. Can you show me the way?
Sure, let's go.
So, back in the day, there were some bowling greens here as part of the estate. Is that bowling like bowls? Is it bowling like 10-pin bowling? What was that?
Well, the bowling that was played here was on a bowling green. But it's a good question because bowling with skittles, like 10-pin bowling, but an outdoor version, was something that was really popular in the 18th century. And actually, it was called 9 pins then. But at Audley End, it was something a bit different. This is more like lawn bowls. By the 17th century, when this house was built, it was really popular in England. We have engraved images showing the house as it existed then, and you can even see a game in action, people bowling the balls. And this is a form of lawn bowls with a jack, so you throw a little ball to start with, and then the aim of the game is whoever is the person who can get their bowling ball closest to the jack. Even in the late 16th century, it was popular in England, and very famously, Francis Drake, the great explorer and naval man, in 1588, when the Spanish Armada was advancing and news was brought to him that this was a really kind of imminent threat, he was on Plymouth Hoe playing a game of bowls, and while everyone around him was panicking, he said, "No, there's time. I can win this game of bowls before we go and defeat the Spanish Armada."
This man has his priorities set out clearly. How old is cricket as a sport?
So it's thought to have started in England in the 16th century, and it really grew in popularity, particularly when we developed a global empire and we took it to other parts of the world.
So how and when was it brought to Audley End?
Well, we think that the cricket pitch was laid out in about 1842. And this is because Lord and Lady Braybrook's sons went off to school and they played loads of cricket. And when they came back, they wanted to be able to play it at home. So they laid out the cricket pitch and established a team, and they play against local villages and other clubs in the area.
And is the pitch still in use today?
It still is very much actively in use by the Audley End and Littlebury Cricket Club.
Yeah, go for it, underarm, yeah. There you go. Ooh.
Oh, go on, catch, fetch. So we've been joined by Nick, who's going to teach me, hopefully, a thing or two about cricket. So Nick, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, so I'm the first team captain here at Audley End and Littlebury. We play just over the water there. I think used to play here a long time ago. You'll probably be the expert there. We are about 4 weeks away from the season, so hopefully the weather improves.
Oh,
Oh, there you go.
Oh.
Big celebration in front of the house.
Do you want me to tackle you?
No, please don't. It's quite a heavy ball, isn't it?
It's because it's supposed to look like an old one.
Why is it so heavy? It's like a rock. Come on, Peter!
During the war, Audley End was requisitioned for military use, and it became a secret training base for the Polish Special Operations Executive.
Wow.
And these men were training to go and essentially be parachuted into occupied territory and undertake really dangerous missions. And they needed time to play games and let off steam, and football was one of the things they really enjoyed to help them do that.
You've got mud all on your face. This is why I've got makeup on. any other sports that these Polish men played while they were staying here?
There were, and we've got some really amazing old black and white photographs showing them playing volleyball and basketball and tennis, all in the garden where we now have this beautiful parterre lawn. That was completely grassed over so they could do these kinds of activities. We know that they did wheelbarrow racing, piggyback racing, they even had a slow bike race. There are thousands of books in here.
So many books. So what kind of games would have been played in here?
When the family had lots of guests, they would have come through here after dinner and tables would have been laid out all over the place with card games, chess, backgammon, so you could take your pick really.
Fun room for it. And what's this around here?
Well, I was having a little look on the bookshelves earlier and I found this book called The History of Playing Cards.
Wow.
And it's from 1865, so exactly the time when the family would have been playing the card games in this room.
And it's battered, isn't it?
It's had a life. It's really well used and well read, which I think is quite nice to know that the family weren't just interested in playing games and playing cards in here, but they really wanted to learn about it as well.
So why do you think people were so interested in card games?
Well, I think it's one of those things that has really universal appeal, and famously, Dr. Johnson, the English 18th century writer, he never learnt to play cards in his lifetime. And there's a quote here expressing his regret. He said, "It's very useful in life. It generates kindness and it consolidates society."
High praise.
So there's something nice here about,
Yeah.
no matter who you are or where you come from, you can sit down and play a game of cards together.
That's a lovely quote. And I suppose back then you didn't have Wi-Fi, you didn't have TVs, you didn't have games consoles, so you couldn't just do that after dinner.
Well, today the library is still very much a place where you can come and play games, play cards, do jigsaw puzzles if you want.
So if a family came in and they were sort of looking around Audley End, they could genuinely bring a pack of their own cards, sit down here as a family and play in a room this spectacular if they wanted.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's one of those things that really keeps the spirit of this place alive.
Wow, what a good place to play it as well.
At Audley End, Lady Braybrook was particularly fond of playing whist, and she played that with guests really, really frequently. Other games such as Patience, there's another game called Sympathy that she liked to play, so she was a real avid card player.
And then did the love of cards sort of continue into the 20th century? Was it still as popular?
Yeah, it really did actually, and although there wasn't such a large family living here in the 20th century, there were still 3 children living at Audley End, and I'm told they really particularly loved a game called Old Maid. So we've divided the deck into 2.
Yeah.
The first thing we need to do is find any pairs that you've got in your hand.
Daughter. Okay.
Oh, that's my last pair.
You won.
Father. So
Here I am, the old maid. And then, here at Audley End, there's such amazing gardens. Did they used to play them outside on the lawns at all?
yeah, it's a great question because we don't really often think of cards as being something you play outside. It's more of an indoor game. But just actually on the lawn right there in front of us, they used to play something called living whist. And that is a card game, but instead of using a pack of cards, you dress up as a playing card. So you'd have 52 participants. It might be the family or people from the local community, and they'd come in and they'd dance around and play a game of cards in person. So
Love that.
really kind of fun and a lot of sense of kind of pageantry and very over the top. In the 18th century, people would spend huge amounts of money on very specialist pieces of furniture that they could play backgammon on.
It's a really beautiful table, this, isn't it?
It absolutely is, and it was one of the top quality pieces of furniture you could buy if you wanted to have a games table in the 18th century.
Is this like an original sort of map of all the woods?
Yeah, so just a few years ago we found this inside the drawer, and if you piece them together in the right order, you can see that they describe the wood specimens that we've got here.
Can I?
Yeah,
is it
some of
broken?
them are quite hard to make out.
Yes.
Yew, broom.
So they've mapped out where
each wood would be.
Yeah. Does that make
Okay,
sense?
so let's start. So roll dice.
You could move that one too, and then you
Can
could.
I only go on the black ones?
No, you can land on whichever one you
All
want.
right. Gosh, quite complicated.
It is quite complicated, yeah. I find the easiest way is if you just start playing.
And what about chess?
Chess, yep, that's been played here very much so, all through the 18th century and the 19th century, although the origins of chess are thought to date back to the Norman conquest of 1066, is when it first came to this country. The pieces then were much more kind of abstracted forms, so not the types of figures that you know as chess pieces today.
And it's such a famous game to this day, really, isn't it?
It is, and it really kind of reached its peak and kind of this a very special moment in 1851 when the first international chess competition was played at the Crystal Palace alongside the Great Exhibition in London.